Hello, welcome everyone who has joined us. I'm Olga Atamanova, and we continue on our war. 740 days of the full-scale invasion of the Russian aggressor to our land, and we will be talking about blocking our borders. Denis Marchuk, deputy head of the All-Ukrainian Agrarian Council, is with us. So let's talk about one of the most painful issues today for our society. This is the blocking of Ukrainian-Polish border. How does it influence us? This is a difficult and long-standing problem, because if we take all the months of this event, it has lasted for 5 months. There was an interval in January when they stopped it for 2 weeks. As of today, 6 points of crossing of the Ukrainian-Polish border are blocked out of 9. And of course, this creates additional problems for our business. Although we have diversified significantly the limits of exports in the direction of Poland, and of course, when we minimized the export through Poland, we still sustain losses because the agrarians of Western Ukraine, Rivne, Lviv, Ternopil, and other oblasts, although they have their counterparts in Poland and want to say, and Western Europe, they cannot move their grains through Poland, and Ukraine has sustained losses of about 8 billion hryvnia as for non-paid custom duties, and the entire loss is more than 1.5 billion euro, and of course the cost is rising. The cost of staying in one place over 1 day is for any truck is almost 200 euros, and of course there are fines for untimely delivery. This all is being sustained by the Ukrainian shippers, the Ukrainian logistical companies. So the talks that are going on with Polish counterparts are very important. They are taking place in Brussels, and we have some meetings planned in Poland, and we hope that the conditions which are being agreed with Polish counterparts will lead to the situation that we will be able to unblock the crossings before the 29th of March. As far as percentage is concerned, can we say how much of our agrarian produce is trying to cross the Polish border? Well, the aggregate amount of the produce is, of course, taken and transported by the Black Sea up to 80%, 10% by the Danube. Then there's, of course, railway, and from 3 to 5% goes through Poland. It's 350,000 tons. And of course, this is huge for any farmer who has grown the produce and tries to sell it. And now they are planning the sowing campaign. This is very important. And they are being hit by non-received income because they don't have enough money to buy what they need to sow the grain. How successful were other routes in February? Maybe February was one of the good months during the all-out war. And we see that the business, because it is being trusted, and because the Ukrainian armed forces were able to change the situation in the Black Sea, and of course the situation on the Danube has changed because it is not easy to reach the south of Odessa Oblast, so they are mostly working via the sea. However, it was able to use the Danube ports as well. So in the future, I think in March, the export of agrarian produce will be mostly concentrated on the Black Sea. This is very important because before the new marketing year will start on the 1st of July this year, we still have to export something like 30 million tons of agrarian produce. And about the next sowing campaign, how we are prepared to the new season and how our agrarians are ready or not to start it. The preparedness, the moral preparedness is 100%, but not financially. As I said, there's not enough money that can be used. And for instance, our people are sustaining losses where corn is concerned. It is understood that they won't be able to invest as much as they need or as they used to into sowing maize or corn. Then, of course, there's a issue with people. We have the deficit of people because many were mobilized, and it's very important that the general headquarters, general staff of the Ukrainian armed forces accelerates the process of solving the issue of exempting people from mobilization, because there's, for instance, an agronomist or a tractor driver or someone who works with livestock. It is important that the need for such people is, the needs are analyzed and some electronic form of work is being introduced. I think that this is all prepared but still not applied. And this also concerns machinery, especially pickups and trucks, because people have to understand what can be taken from them. You said that there will be a shortage or decrease in sowing corn. What about other cultures? We will probably see the decrease in sunflower planting and other oil cultures, but not maybe soya. And these are the cultures with the smallest margin, and they do provide us with possibility to either lose less or to not sustain losses. It is important that the government increases the intenseness of the program 579, and instead of 90 million hryvnia, the government should finance 150 million hryvnia of loans, and this will provide our agrarians with a more active opportunity to prepare for the sowing campaign, because I know, for instance, that in Chernihiv region, people are saying that they will not be sowing anything. However, if they had loans with clear-cut conditions, then they will probably review their decision. And of course, for 2 years, many people did not have opportunity to take state-guaranteed loans, and this also is linked to demining. How can we say that the areas on the formerly occupied territories are being cleaned up? In general, I think that in 2023, something like 200,000 hectares of land were demined and introduced back into agriculture, but there are 2 million such hectares on the deoccupied territories, so we have to increase the number of people and machinery who are engaged in this. At the moment, something like 3,500 engineers are working for this, and less than enough machinery. We have to ask for help from our international partners. We understand that this is expensive, but at the same time, this is about saving lives and about cleaning up the lands. So we hope that in 2024, the number of machinery will be increased, demining machines, and this will, of course, accelerate the process. However, when 134,000 square kilometers are polluted or mined, it is not possible to do this within a year. What about Kherson Oblast? They are working in difficult circumstances because they are sustaining shelling, and the fields, especially next to the front line, are under bombardment all the time. But the people who came back, for them, the only way of surviving is working on their own land. So they are engaged in demining, and they will work. And they will try to function, because not only his business, but social sphere of the locality depends on this, and many people who work for him and their families. Any questions, colleagues? Please join our conversation. I am Michal Potolsky. I'm from Poland. I wanted to ask, when our Prime Minister Tusk was in Kiev, we could hear that an example for the future understanding between Ukraine and Poland is the understanding between Ukraine and Romania, because it's been in action for several weeks now. I wanted your opinion on how this works and whether it can be an example. Mr. Michal, we do not have the process of licensing the produce. It's the discussion. Ukraine has suggested this in autumn last year, and we do not have a process of licensing with Poland like we have with Romania and Bulgaria, which we discussed and worked out back in autumn last year, and now we can export our grain, for instance, to those countries. We suggested to the Poles that they hold in place licensing for grain and corn. However, this had not happened. We see more suggestions about limits, because now they are talking about honey, about eggs, about other products like apple juice. So at the moment there are active negotiations on the level Ukraine, Poland, European Commission, because if Poland uses unilaterally embargo on such a number of produce, this can put under doubt the entire policy of liberalization in relation to Ukrainian produce to the European Union. But when our Prime Minister was on the Ukrainian-Polish customs point. He said that Ukraine is ready to accept some limitations, like on the fourth category of commodities, but not the others.
I have two questions. The first one is, well, I really need we need, I think, your clarification, because at the beginning I thought, but is Poland working for Russia? I mean, they look like they are agent of Moscow, closing the border. We were listening some declaration, even by President Zelensky, talking about this strike on the border, these attacks, not only against trucks full of agricultural product, but on the whole, all the movement of goods, which also impire arms, ammunition. So it was a huge problem. It looked like, you know, it was in the interest of Moscow, of Putin. So the first question is, then I thought I need a clarification from Ukrainian, because I really don't understand. And the first question is this one. Is there any agreement on the question of selling, not selling agricultural product from Ukraine in Poland? Because that looks like the problem, the bulk of the problem, that in Poland are saying, we don't want your product invading our market, otherwise the price will go down and our product will be not competitive anymore. So before the war, your product were going on the international market through Poland, and there was no problem. Why now there is this problem? Why you don't sort out with the Polish the question of not selling Polish goods in, Ukrainian goods in Poland, which looks to me the only way to sort it out. And okay, this is the first question.
Насправді, якщо дивитися по
When in reality, if we look at the grain exports, for 10 months Ukraine has not been selling anything on the territory of Poland since April last year. And they started in April both for selling and transport, and then there was the resolution of the Euro Commission about banning Ukrainian export to 5 countries, including Poland. However, the Euro Commission then lifted the embargo, but Poland has kept it. And the fact that we see those strikes, of course, disturbs us, because Russia has replaced Poland and other countries in some markets where Poland could be working. And of course, the export from Russia has grown. And at the moment when Poles are blocking the Ukrainian-Polish customs points, Russia is taking over European markets, where Poland was active before. So the question is whether the certain special services are not flaring up this process, because the fall in prices is not caused by the export from Ukraine. This started in 2023 by the global decrease in the prices. So answering your questions, I see more politics than economic accents in this, on which Polish manufacturers are now concentrating. And I would say that Poland is maybe losing even more, because if we look at the import of Polish goods to Ukraine, we are buying something close to 4 billion euro worth of this produce. So
internal Polish politics has little to do with Ukrainian grain. That's the bulk of your answer.
100%.
100%.
The other thing is quite positive. You managed to sell 80% of your agricultural product, including grain, through the Black Sea, that we know, which is an incredible success. Just confirm me, a few days ago there was a report saying that you exported through the corridor, the sea corridor in the Black Sea, 5.5 million tons of product, which is very good. Before the war, you were selling 6 million. Can you confirm it? I mean, in effect, from the agricultural point of view, for you, the blocks, the problem on the Polish border is now quite solved. It's a minor problem, isn't it?
Так, дійсно, я вже це уточнював.
Yes, more than 5 million tons of grain was exported by the Black Sea. This is partially, we are back to the pre-war levels. However, there were more port capacities there before, but this was the biggest weight that we exported during the full-scale invasion. And this, of course, helps our producers plan sowing, because they know that what they will grow, they will be able to export. But you have to understand that agrarian sector is not just raw materials, it's also added value on the shelves of the European Union, and that's why the Euro Commission is working on the liberalization in relation to Ukrainian produce, and this concerns honey and dairy products and meat, and we have also the right to sell this on the territory of Poland. So we are talking about the damage and losses to our people who work with added value, not just with the raw produce.
To her before, but I didn't get it. Can you tell us, after the Russians are now occupying 20%, 19 point something percent of your territory, and then a lot of territory has been damaged, you were talking about the mining, etc. If you can look at globally, how much is the damage? What is the percentage that you sell less, that you produce less? What was the result this year? How much less you produce because of the war? Thank you. Comparing before the war.
Через вторгнення країни-агресора ми втратили.
We have lost almost 7 million hectares of land. They are either temporarily occupied or cannot be used because of being mined or polluted. Before the war, we exported 65 million tons annually, and we are almost at the same level this year. We have to export something like 60 million tons of grain this year. However, if we talk about ungained profit, of course we are losing.
You are exporting more or less like before the war, so there is no loss. You are exporting the same amount.
Приблизно так.
Yes, approximately the same. But if we had control over those territories, we could export even more. Before 2021, we were growing annually what we have grown in 2023, like 70 to 80 million tons of oil and grain cultures. In 2020, we have grown 110 million tons. So if we were now controlling those territories, the average export could grow from 60 to 75, 80 million tons a year of grain and oil cultures. Any other questions? No questions. Thank you for this interesting and useful discussion. We hope that the situation on the borders will improve. Thank you, our forces of security and defense, and glory to Ukraine.